What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so this video, we're going to cover Volume 1 for the latest Poison Ivy series. Yes, we are. It came out last year. It's still going on right now. And matter of fact, it's part of the Dawn of DC. Now, if you're new to DC Comics or you're just getting the comics right now at this moment and you have no idea what Dawn of DC actually is, well, Dawn of DC is a fresh start, a new beginning for DC Comics to bring in new readers, but to also bring back old readers as well. Now, when it comes to the Dawn of DC, a lot of books did start back over with #1 issues. So like Superman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, those books right there. But you did have some other books that did not start over, like Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Batman, Catwoman. They just kept going on, and so their Dawn of DC actually kicks off in the middle of their current series, which honestly is a bad idea, but hey, that's DC Comics for you. And so when it came to Poison Ivy, Volume 1, and I want to say half of Volume 2 are just before the Dawn of DC. But in the middle of Volume 2 for Poison Ivy, it goes into the Dawn of DC. And so Dawn of DC is just a new, fresh start for new readers to jump in, but to also bring back old readers as well. Now, when it comes to this right here, Volume 1 for Poison Ivy, is kind of like answering the question, is she going to be a good guy or is she going to be a bad guy? Which honestly, at first, is bad guy. But as the story goes on, you're kind of like, okay, she may be becoming a good guy now, just maybe. Now, before we are able to actually jump into today's storyline, we have to jump back in time. And the reason why, because something very important back in Batman Fear State plays a big role in today's video. And what I mean by that is, back in Batman Fear State, it was this Batman event where you had Scarecrow and also a guy he teamed up with known as Simon Saint attacking Gotham, trying to take over Gotham. Either way though, in that storyline, Poison Ivy was actually split into two people, good and bad. Now the bad Poison Ivy, she called herself Queen Ivy, and the good one just called herself Ivy. Now the problem was though, the good one was actually locked up and kept away from the rest of the world by Ivy's ex-girlfriend, the Gardener. Now the Gardener just wanted to keep her around because of course that was her ex-girlfriend that she still somewhat loved. Either way though, Catwoman and Harley Quinn was able to free the good one and then told the good one about the bad one, which of course was Queen Ivy. But they were able to actually combine the two different Ivies back into one. Here comes the problem though, because right after they did that, you did have Poison Ivy help Batman save Gotham in Fear State. But she also lost her connection to the green. Now remember, when it comes to the green, it's just kind of like a connection to all plant life across the world. And when it came to Poison Ivy, she was one of the few characters that had a connection to that life, the green, her and Swamp Thing. Either way though, she now lost that connection and she hates it so much. Now, she somewhat does have her powers, but not completely. And so she says she has to go back and see him. Now, when she said that to herself and also to her ex-girlfriend, the Gardener knows who she's talking about, and she knows if she goes back there, that man is going to basically torture her and just bring back a lot of bad memories. But for Poison Ivy, she has no choice. She wants to regain her powers completely, but to also make sure she now has connection with the green once again. Now, because she lost her connection to the green, her powers are slowly going away. And so with her powers slowly going away, that means that sooner or later, she's going to be just a regular human being, something that Poison Ivy can't handle. Because of her, she has to keep her powers to save the earth. And so that's why she's going back home for. That's why she's going to Seattle to find someone who can actually help her keep her powers. But at the same time, she tells herself, I have one mission left. And that mission is right now to save the Earth. Get rid of the humans so that plant life can heal and then survive and retake the Earth. And so that is her last mission for the Earth right now, to actually save it, but at the same time get her powers back as well. Now, we do see her take an actual bottle of something, and it was a bottle of Lamia. Now, Lamia is going to kind of help her keep her powers just long enough so that she'll be able to actually save the Earth. On top of that, she's going to use Lamia as a way to attack the human race, to hopefully use it as a way to get rid of the human race. And so now with all that information, we are now technically ready for the main Poison Ivy series. And so getting into the very first issue of this book, we actually do pick up with Poison Ivy. Now, when we do, this is her right now in Wyoming. And the reason why, because she's going on a road trip. Now, that right there is actually very important to mention, because in this book, we're going to see her go to a lot of different locations. Now, in Wyoming right now, we come to find out that she had just killed off a bunch of cows. And the reason why, because when it came to these cows right here, they did not belong in this area. Now, she does tell us she hates killing off humans or animals. But if plant life is going to survive, then some animals have to die. And of course, the human race has to die as well. Either way, the reason why she killed these cows off, because this is not their natural habitat. They were brought here by farmers. And so she said, because these cows were brought here, it ruined everything in this area. And the animals that were actually part of this habitat had a hard time surviving. And so with these cows dead, maybe, just maybe, the original animals who were in this habitat could finally be able to heal and survive. And hopefully this area will look back as it was before the farmers came here. Now, when the farmers find her, they're like, hey, why are you killing off our cows? What in the world is wrong with you? And she tells the farmer, I used some Lamia as a way to kill off your cows. Now, as we saw earlier, she did use Lamia as a way to kind of keep her powers intact just a tad bit longer until she's actually able to find a way to keep her powers or to regain complete control of her powers. Either way, she did use Lamia as a way to kill off the cattle. Now, she also does use it again on the farmer and his son as well, to one, get rid of them, but to also begin the process to take down the human race so that she'll be able to actually help out the Earth, so the Earth can finally be able to heal. Now, with that being said, we also come to find out that the van she is using right now as a way to kind of travel across the country, she actually took it from a couple who are also being killed off by some Lamia as well. But their bodies are in the back of the van. And so she kind of keeps their bodies there as a way to kind of have someone to talk to, even though they're technically dead at the moment. Now, there are a few things she does tell us as she continues on with her road trip. And the first thing she does tell us is that she's taking the back roads. And the reason why, because she wants to make sure that it's hard for the Bat family to actually find her. She wants to stay a few steps ahead of them, because she tells us that what she has cooked up right now is going to end the world by the time she actually reaches Seattle, meaning that by the time she does get to Seattle, it'll be too late to actually stop her master plan. And so now it's kind of like, okay, what is your master plan? Now, as she is on her road trip, she also mentions the Green Man. Now, the Green Man seems to be the person that could actually help her regain her powers. But the question is, though, who is the Green Man? But then we actually see her arrive at a bar. Now, the reason why she goes to this bar is for one, to relax, but to also kind of write in this journal this journal or letter that she's going to send to someone special to her. Now, really, we already know who that special person is. It, of course, is Harley Quinn, because at this point right now, they are technically not together. And matter of fact, we see why they're not together in the next section as she's at this bar and thinking back to when she left Harley Quinn behind. And so in this flashback, we do see Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy having an argument with one another. Now, this argument is all about the idea that Harley Quinn saved Poison Ivy's life. And what I mean by that is, remember, before this storyline came out, there were two different Poison Ivys. You had Queen Ivy and you had the good innocent Ivy. But then Harley Quinn and Catwoman were able to convince both versions to combine together to make the original Ivy once again. But because she did that, she technically lost her connection to the green, and now she's losing her powers. And so this is really her in this flashback telling Harley Quinn, you may have saved me, but it seems to me personally, you saved me because you're selfish. You just wanted me back, and you couldn't save the parts of me that actually matter. Of course, having a connection to the green. And so this is Ivy telling Harley Quinn in the flashback, I can't stay here. I have to leave, and I have to find a way to regain my connection to the green, but also my powers as well. And so she leaves. And so technically right now, Harley Quinn and Ivy are technically on a break. Now, this is where we actually learn the master plan of Poison Ivy. And what I mean by that is, what she is trying to do is spread the Lamia spores around the world. And the reason why, because these spores are going to affect people left and right, and give her the ability to kill people left and right. And that is what she wants to do, to kill off the human race so that the earth can actually heal up. Now, with her plan though, what she is trying to do is get to the next town, because in the next town, there is going to be a shipment leaving across the sea, going to other countries on different continents. And with that happening, that means she'll now have more ability to send out more spores in other countries around the world, which means that more people will be affected, which is what she wants. She wants to kill off the entire human race. Now, because she still has somewhat control of her powers, she can tell the spores when to begin the process of actually killing off the human race. But for right now, it's just to spread the virus around. But she's going to tell the spores, hey, do not kill anyone just yet until my signal. And her signal is when she is going to get back to Seattle. Now, she tells us all this because while she was trying to leave the bar, you did have two guys try to hit on her. Of course, she said no, but they cannot take no for an answer. And so they do follow her outside the bar, and she kills them off by using her spores on them. And so they die off very quickly. But this shows her that her plan could technically work. These spores do kill off people very fast. And so she does leave for the next city. Here comes the problem though, because as she is leaving, one of the two guys she killed off, their hand actually moves. And that right there is a problem, because it tells us someone else is controlling these guys now, even though they died, but they did turn into plant life. Now, we also learned that when she does get to Seattle, she is trying to meet a guy known as the Green Man. Once again, the Green Man, he's so important. But who is the Green Man? Now, as we get into the second chapter of this storyline, we actually do pick up with Poison Ivy at a diner. Now, this diner is actually going to begin the process of her having some doubts about the idea of killing off the human race. Because remember, she blames humans for the idea that the earth is dying. And so with that being said, with her being at this diner, she's going to begin to kind of have second doubts about the idea of killing off innocent humans who are just living here, but not actually trying to kill off the earth. They're just here on the earth living a daily life. Because while she had a diner, she does talk to a cook. And this cook is kind of being a very nice cook. Like, hey, you know, what do you want to eat? We got good food here. all that stuff right there. And he's been a great guy to her. And she realized that he's not a bad guy at all, that he's actually a good guy. But while she does sit at this diner, she does meet someone else. And the other person is Jenny. Now, Jenny is not really that important for the entire storyline, but she does play a role for this section right here. And like I said earlier, when it comes to this issue number 2, it really says like, hey, this begins the process of Poison Ivy having some doubts about the idea of killing off the human race or killing off innocent people. Because as she talks to Jenny and also the cook as well, she kind of realized something, that when it comes to these two people, they're technically harmless. They haven't done anything bad at all in the world or done anything bad to the world. And so for Ivy, she's kind of wondering to herself, should I go ahead and kill them off? Like, are there other people out there who are just like them? Innocent people who haven't done anything at all, but they're going to die because I'm trying to save the plant life. They have done anything at all. They are technically harmless. And so she's kind of like, you know what? I do enjoy their company. Now, while she is talking to them, you do have Jenny pull out a piece of paper. Now, when she does have some kind of symbol on this paper. And to Jenny, she just want to get a tattoo of the symbol on her body somewhere. But when it comes to Ivy, she recognizes the symbol because that symbol belongs to the Green Man, the one she is trying to see. And matter of fact, when she took that vial of Lemia earlier, it had the same symbol on that vial earlier. And so she's kind of like, wait a second. Why in the world does this random girl have this symbol of the Green Man, the one I'm trying to see? What's happening right now? And so while she's kind of thinking about what Jenny has showed her, that is the moment she looks around at this diner. Now, when she does see all these different kinds of families. Now, these families kind of continue the idea that they're harmless. They're innocent people that she is going to kill. People who have technically not done anything at all to harm plant life. They're just trying to live a normal life and not realizing that their normal life is actually the reason why the earth is dying. And so for Ivy, she's kind of like, do I have the right to take their lives away from them? And because she's trying to spread these spores around the world, including this room right now, the people in this room have already been affected, which means that when she gets to Seattle, she'll tell the spores to kill everybody that they are connected to, like these people right here in the room right now. Now, she also kind of says, maybe I don't have to kill them, because she realized that because the humans have lived on this earth so long, they have caused so many problems, like wildfires. Wildfires have gotten worse. Matter of fact, they gotten so bad thanks to humans that they're so bad, in the next couple years, it will basically be unbeatable. Wildfires will just be too hard to stop and they'll burn everything around the world. And so right now is her saying, maybe I should go ahead and kill the humans off or let them die by the hands of wildfires, which is something they have created. Except while she spent time at this diner, that is the moment she realized that the cops have arrived. Now, when the cops do arrive, she thinks, oh my gosh, they're here for me. But at the same time, while she's thinking that, so does Jenny, because Jenny is also on the run from the cops as well. Now, what she did, I forgot. Either way, it's Ivy realizing, okay, you know what? For one, you may never judge a book by their cover, because when she met Jenny, she was like, oh yeah, Jenny is a great person. But now she's realizing that Jenny is not really that great of a person. Either way, she still wants to help Jenny out. And so what she tells Jenny is that, okay, listen, the cops are here for you or me. Either way, they want to arrest us both. But on top of that, though, we do have a lot of people. Let them leave first. Once they do leave, walk towards the door. I'll take care of the cops. And so they go through with that plan. But as soon as Jenny walks out the door, you have Ivy use more of her spores as a way to kill off these cops. Now, what she tells us is that the cops don't go through a painful death. It's supposed to be kind of painless, which honestly, I have no idea how it is, because the way the artist of this book draws their death, you're like, no, that cannot be painless at all. But apparently it is. But the cops have been killed off, Jenny gets away, and Ivy is able to move on. Now, as she's trying to leave the diner and get back into her van so that she'll be able to continue her road trip, well, that is the moment she realized that someone is kind of creeping behind her. But the problem is she don't see anybody. And so to her, she's wondering maybe she's just going crazy. But once she gets inside the van, let's not forget, the van she has, she stole that van from a couple that she had killed off by using her spores and then put those dead bodies in the back of the van. And when she gets inside the van, the bodies have moved. And to her, she's kind of wondering, wait a second, why do the bodies look different? Did I move them? Did I forget I moved them? What's happening right now? And so it's really continuing the idea that someone is controlling all the dead bodies that Ivy leaves behind. Either way, she does drive off, but she's kind of wondering if she's going crazy or if someone's trying to hunt her down. Now, you do have Ivy continue on with her road trip, but as she continues on with her road trip, she does have another flashback. And of course, it's a conversation she had with the gardener. Now, remember, the gardener is her ex-girlfriend from her college days, but also kind of like a supervillain that's for Batman, but also for, I guess, Harley Quinn and also Ivy as well. Either way, when she has this flashback, we do see that Gardner knows what Ivy wants, because when Ivy was split into two people, good and bad, Ivy and Queen Ivy had a lot more powers than regular Ivy had ever. And so right now, it's really Ivy trying to get back to Queen Ivy's status, because when they combine the two Ivys back together, she lost that power. And so right now, she's trying to get that huge amount of power. And you have Gardner saying, be happy with what you have right now. But unfortunately, the power she has right now is also going away. And so this is Ivy trying to get her power back, or sorry, not lose her power, but also get the power of Queen Ivy back as well. And that right there is very important. And so getting into the third chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with Poison Ivy right now having a dream. Now, when it comes to this dream, it's really more of showing us how much she actually missed Harley Quinn. Like, Ivy and Harley Quinn were just a couple right before this book came out. And then she had to leave Harley behind so that she'll be able to regain the powers of Queen Ivy. And so with that being said, it's her kind of realizing that she does miss Harley Quinn. And in this dream, it's Harley saying, come back home to me. But for Ivy, it's like, nah, I have to keep pushing forward and get what I actually want in life. Now, after you do have Ivy wake up from her dream, she does go outside her motel room. Now, when she does, she is confronted by a lady known as Carrie. Now, Carrie is going to be really important for just this section right here. But it seems like Carrie is the owner of the motel that Ivy is staying in. But at the same time, Carrie is also trying to work on a garden right now. Now, with that being said, as soon as Ivy heard that Carrie wants to work on a garden, Ivy was down to kind of help work on this garden. Now, for Ivy, she's kind of like this right here. This is another example that I'm kind of having doubts about killing off the human race, because you also have people who actually care about plants, who want to see plants actually grow. And that right there makes my choice even harder when it comes down to actually killing off the human race. Now, she does help Carrie with her garden, and every time Carrie is not looking, you do have Ivy kind of give the plants some enhancement so that they'll grow better later on in life. Either way, though, it kind of shows that with Ivy, she's kind of having more doubts about the idea of killing off the human race, which makes sense because earlier she saw people who were just harmless, who did nothing wrong at all. They're just living their daily lives. But that's the problem, though. Their daily lives are the reason why the earth is dying. But then you have Carrie here, who's a gardener, and she's minding her business, working on her plants, and that's it. And it shows Ivy that there are a lot of innocent people that she is about to kill off, that honestly, she kind of looks at them and say, oh my gosh, y'all are great people. And so after that, you do have Ivy go back to her motel room to relax just for another day before she has to hit the road and continue on with her road trip. Now, while she's in her room just waiting and relaxing, well, that is the moment she is attacked by some kind of plant-like monster. Now, when it comes to this plant-like monster, of course, this does fit in with what we saw earlier, because remember, every time Ivy had killed someone and basically turned them into some kind of plant-like creature, someone else controlled that plant-like creature, even though they were technically dead. But here we are now you have a live plant-like monster that is attacking Ivy, except while she's trying to battle against this creature, it just disappears. Now, when it does disappear, you have Ivy wonder, was that her who had created the monster or someone else who's coming after her? And that is the big question. But she realized she has to move on now and continue with her road trip. And so we then see her go to Idaho. Now, when she does arrive to Idaho, we see her going to some kind of factory. Now, when it comes to this factory, it's going to be very important in the next chapter because it is Ivy actually getting a job. And with this job, it's going to help her be able to actually spread the spores around the world like she has been trying to do in this entire series so far. And so getting into the 4th chapter of this book, we kind of find out that Poison Ivy is getting a job at a shipping factory, where of course all these different packages have to go to different places across the world. And this is a very powerful move for Ivy because you have to realize, guys, she's trying to spread the spores around the world. And what's the best way to do it? Through packages. If I'm able to touch these cardboard boxes and they can hold on to my spores, those spores will get to people across the world and then affect them, which means that when she's ready to tell the spores to go ahead and kill off the human race, bam, just like that, mission accomplished. And so for Ivy, it seems like this is going to be a great plan. Now, while she is working at this factory, she does kind of find out that the boss of this factory is a kind of crooked. And what I mean by that is he is sexually harassing his employees, especially one particular employee. Now, this is going to be the most important part of this chapter, really, because while you do have the other employees tell how bad their boss is and try to tell Ivy, go ahead and quit, get away from this job because you're going to hate it here, you do have Ivy ask them, well, why haven't you tried to do anything at all? And you have the employee say, we tried. Everything we try to do doesn't work at all. He's just that powerful of a person. And so you have Ivy say, you know what? I am going to handle this problem. Now, you do have Poison Ivy go and find the boss. Now, when she does find the boss, you do have Ivy technically go ahead and say, listen here, my spores have already affected you, and they're going to kill you in like 10 minutes. But listen very carefully. You have two options here. You can, one, die a painless death, but if you do not try to help me out before you die, I'll make sure that every single minute is the worst minute of your life. And so what you're going to do is you're going to leave great reviews for every single employee in this building right now, because I heard how bad you were. And so if you do that, your last 10 minutes of your life will be painless. If you don't, trust me, it is going to be the worst thing you ever felt, and then you die. And so you actually have the boss say, you know what? I'd rather have a painless death than a real painful, I'm going to cry kind of death. And so he does go ahead and just leave great reviews left and right for every single employee in the building. Now, here's the thing though. He does try to plead like why he was a horrible boss. He even says, I was trying to be that great boss, the one that everybody loves. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that because we had to follow the rules. But with that being said, I fall in line with how people look at me. I'm the boss and you're supposed to hate your boss. But the problem is though, he's not owning up to the idea that he goes around sexually harassing his employees. And so she's kind of like, dude, stop, you're lying. Like, if you want to be a good boss, you could have been a good boss. But unfortunately, you were a bad boss. And so right after he's done leaving great reviews for every single employee, he dies and she leaves. Now, she does go and tell one of the other employees, like, hey, listen, the boss is no longer going to bother you at all. Matter of fact, it's going to be a great day for you and the rest of your co-workers from here on out. Now, the person she actually tells was her trainee. And apparently there was some kind of connection just instantly, because as soon as Ivy came back and said, hey, I took care of the boss, this girl was all like, oh my gosh, I found you attracting. Let's go ahead and go back to your place and let's do the dirty, which they actually do. Now, with that being said, I kind of find it weird how Poison Ivy is doing the dirty, but she imagines Harley Quinn being there and not really upset about the idea that she's with someone else doing the dirty. But at the same time, it's Ivy saying, the entire time while I was with her, I was thinking of you. And it's kind of like, okay, I kind of get that. Not really, but whatever. But either way, Ivy did, have some fun time with an employee. And so while you do have Ivy and her friend kind of relaxing, really sleeping after doing the dirty, well, that is the moment they are confronted by the plant-like creature again, a new one that's coming after Ivy. Now, Ivy is actually able to protect her friend from this creature. The problem is, though, that this creature is still trying to kill Ivy, and Ivy has no idea where this creature actually came from. But Ivy knows now she did not create this creature. And so you do have Ivy as a creature. Okay, who sent you? Why are you here? And you have the creature say, I was sent by the Green Man. Now that is actually very important, because remember, when it came to Ivy, she's trying to find the Green Man. The Green Man is the one who supposedly could help her regain control of her powers completely. And so right now she's kind of like, okay, the Green Man must have been watching me and knew I was coming towards him. And so now he's calling me out. I have to go and find the Green Man and stop him here and now. And so this is her saying goodbye to her new friend, but then telling herself, I have to go find the Green Man now. Now, we actually do pick up with the 5th chapter of this book, but this is going to be kind of like the origin of Poison Ivy, to kind of remind fans, how did she become Poison Ivy? And what I mean by that is, when it comes to Poison Ivy, we have to jump back in time to kind of explain her origin, but it is connected to another character who's going to be important for this storyline. Jason Woodrue. Now, Jason Woodrue is better known as the Floronic Man, sometimes known as the Cedar, and other times he's also known as the Green Man. Now, with that being said, though, when it came to Jason, he was actually recruited by the government to run this graduate program. Now, of course, this program was all about plant life. Now, he has some great students, and most of those students went on to be very important characters in DC Comics, like Alec Holland. He became Swamp Thing. And of course, Poison Ivy. She was part of that group as well, part of that graduate program. Now, most of the students, they left, except Poison Ivy. She stayed behind. And the reason why? Because she fell in love with Jason. Now, with that love that Jason had built between her and him, he used that love as a way to say, you know what? It should be okay for me to run some kind of experiments on you. And so with those experiments, of course, it turned her into Poison Ivy. And so thanks to Jason, that is why she is Poison Ivy. But this is also why she's going back to Seattle to find him, to hopefully regain her complete control over the powers she once had. But we come to find out that she was actually dreaming about her origin, what created Poison Ivy. But once she wakes up, because the spores have been inside her body for so long, and only because the healing factor she has is keeping the spores from actually killing her, well, she's still kind of being affected by the spores to the point where she begins to hallucinate, where she actually sees Batman right now. And you have Batman like, hey, what's up? Do you think it's actually a good idea to actually confront this man right now? I mean, yes, he has been attacking you a lot lately. Yes, he may actually help you regain control of your powers. He may do a lot of different things for you, but let's get one thing straight here. You're not in a good state of mind right now. Like, your state of mind is actually pretty bad. And if you go and try to confront him, you are going to lose. But you didn't have her say, I have no choice here. Like, she's actually talking to her hallucination like Batman is actually there, but he's not. But in reality, though, it's really her kind of saying, I'm going crazy. I have to find him now, defeat him, and regain my connection to the green. But I have to find him here and now. And so she does go to where he could possibly be at. And so she does go to this warehouse. Now, when she does arrive at this warehouse, she walks inside, she looks around, and of course, she does find Jason Woodrue, sorry. Now, when she finds him, of course, right now, he's calling himself the Green Man, which honestly, she's calling him the Green Man, but he does have many other names, like I told y'all earlier. But for the sake of this storyline, he's just called the Green Man. Either way, right now, it's really him saying, hey, Pam, what's up, girl? I know you miss me so much. How you been? Oh my gosh, I saw what you did on the way over here to meet me. All that destruction you did just to get me, to hopefully kill me off, or to hopefully regain control of your powers. Who knows? But either way, what's up? Now, right off the bat, she does attack him. But here's the problem, though. He has a connection to the green, unlike her at the moment. And his connection is very strong. And so with that being said, you actually do have him kind of like, no, I'm not going to die off that easily. Like, you are going to lose to me here and today. You are going to die. But then she has another flashback. Now, when it comes to this flashback, it's really more of Poison Ivy remembering their last meeting, her and the Green Man. And what she remembers was she came to him asking for the spores, the Lamia spores or Lemia spores, the one she has right now in her body, the one she's trying to spread across the world right now to kill off the human race. But the last time they met, she went to him asking for his help, saying, hey man, listen, can I have some of those spores? Because if I get those spores, I'll be able to actually have a full-on connection to the green. And what I mean by that is, before she had the spores originally, before this flashback meeting, she had plant-like powers, but her connection to the green was not there, or it was very small. But once she took the spores, yes, she did have a connection to the green. But here's the problem though. The Lamia spores or Lamia spores was created by the Green Man, and he tried to warn her that the spores have not been fully tested, and also it could affect her in the wrong way. But she did not care. She took it so that she could have a better connection to the green, which she did until the Fear State storyline, where she was basically cut into people and then put back together into one. Either way, though, she used to have connection to the green thanks to Green Man's little experiment, the Lemia spores. But getting back to their battle in the real world, you do have the Green Man actually being able to beat down on Poison Ivy. And matter of fact, it does look like she is going to lose here and now. Now, by the way, this is only the 5th chapter. We still have one more chapter to actually cover. But either way, right now, it does look like Ivy is about to lose to the Green Man. Now, when it comes to the Green Man, he kind of forgot that when it comes to Poison Ivy, she can control any kind of plant-like thing, even, infections or viruses, whatever. As long as they have some kind of plant-like origin, she's able to actually control it. And so the spores are right now inside his body. And so she does say, listen, you have the Lumia spores inside of you as well. I can control that and use it against you, which she does. And so we're kind of left to believe that she was able to actually defeat him by using his own spores against him. Except it doesn't work. And the reason why, because the Lumia spores was his creation. He made the spores. But on top of that, though, he's kind of like, listen, because I created the spores, I had an idea what you were trying to do, because I'm also connected to the spores as well. Because remember, Poison Ivy's goal in this entire book was originally get rid of the human race by spreading the spores across the world. And once she had dealt with the Green Man, she was going to tell the spores to go ahead, affect humans to kill them off, and the human race is dead. But you have the Green Man say that was not going to work. And the reason why it wasn't going to work, because he's like, listen, I also have control over the spores, but I have more control than you do because I created this new kind of plant-like spore. And so I told the spores across the world to go ahead and die. And the reason why, because when it comes to the Green Man, he honestly doesn't care about plant life like Ivy does, where Ivy wants the plant life to actually survive and keep growing and re-heal. For him, it's more of, we can use these different kind of plant-like abilities to get money, to make money. And so he's kind of like, listen, if you kill off the human race, unfortunately for me, I cannot make money. And so this is him saying, I stopped your plan, so I still have my plan to make some money thanks to my powers and my connection to the green. And so getting into the final chapter of this book, we actually do pick up right now with Jason about to kill off Poison Ivy. I mean, like right now, she's not trying to fight back anymore, because to her, she's kind of wondering, what's the point? I can't beat him. He is going to win. I have technically lost this battle. It is over for me. And so for her, she's like, I guess I should go ahead and give up. But then you have Jason make a huge mistake. Now, that huge mistake is him saying, listen, after I kill you off, I'm gonna go after your loved ones, especially your girlfriend. And when he said he is going to go after Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy got upset. She got a second win. And with that second win, she's like, no, you are not gonna do anything at all to my girlfriend. And so Ivy got ticked off. And with her being ticked off, it's kind of like it unlocked a hidden potential when it came to her powers, because now technically she is more stronger than he is at the moment. So what she does is that she does use the powers that she has to bring the entire building down on top of her and Jason. Now, of course, it's going to kill both of them, because again, you're talking about the idea of an entire building just crashing down on top of you. But either way, it's to make sure that Jason does not go after Harley Quinn. And so she does that. She brings down the entire building. Now, when she does that, Jason is dying off. She's badly injured, but she still has a chance to actually survive. Now, for Jason, he does wonder, why in the world are you doing this for? Because they could use their powers to make billions. And for Ivy, she's like, no. Because I realize if we go down your path, this planet is doomed to die. And that is a huge problem. If we want to save this planet, we have to go down a different direction. But on my way here, I've met so many different innocent people, and these people had actually showed me something very important. And that is that when it comes to this planet, there are people out there who are not trying to do harm to the planet. And matter of fact, they're trying to protect it the best they can. But unfortunately, there's more bad than good right now. And so she's saying, I realize, what's the point killing off billions, because I'll be just like the bad ones out there in the world. Instead, let me try to find a different way to save the plant life on this earth. And so, with that being said, he dies. Now, after he does die, you then have her actually begin to eat him. Now, the reason why she does begin to eat him, because she realized that when it comes to her healing factor and his healing factor, his is better than hers. And so she's kind of like, you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do. If I have to eat you to survive, to gain your healing factor, that is what I am going to do. And so that's what she does. She literally begins to eat at him. And it's kind of nasty, but it's her saying, like, you know, the old saying, eat the rich. Well, she's eating the rich right now, technically. Now, the way the book kind of wraps up, well, there's still a couple more sections after this one, but you didn't have Ivy go to a nearby amusement park. Now, when she does, this is really her kind of realizing that humans are not actually a mistake when it comes to being on this planet. And what I mean by that is you have Ivy actually talk to a child. And when she does, this child kind of tells her like, hey, you look cold. Take my scarf. Now, when she touches the child, she realized that on a micro level, there are many, many different kinds of bacteria that are living in our body. If we die, those bacteria also die as well. But on top of that, we have a connection with trees as well. And so with that, she's kind of like, when we exhale, the trees inhale. There are little bacteria in all our bodies right now who are trying to survive in our bodies. If we die, those bacteria die. With trees, they need us as we need them. And so with that, she realized that humans are not a mistake. It's just that humans are not doing what they should be doing. And so it's her realizing that she has to lead the human race in the right direction if she wants to actually help plant life across the world. Now, the next section really shows that Ivy was able to get her letters over to Harley Quinn. And once Harley Quinn got those letters, it was Harley Quinn realizing that she still loves Ivy. And matter of fact, she can't live without Ivy. And so this is Harley Quinn saying, hold on, Ivy, I'm coming for you. I want to find you, which means that the next book, the next storyline could have Harley Quinn inside of it, or is Ivy going to cross over into Harley Quinn's book as well? Either way, though, that kind of wraps up today's video. Wait, no, there's still one more thing. Because I forgot. Let's not forget, guys, earlier, the very beginning of this storyline, we realized she did stole a van. She killed off the couple to get the van, but she kept their bodies inside the van, and she thought they were technically dead. Well, those bodies begin to move and they actually leave the van, which means that something else is possibly controlling these creatures. And the question is, though, who and what and why? But with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please hit that like button down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.